Yeah, peace, family. So we're back with it once again now. This clip is a clip that's on YouTube, but this has been sent to us for us to give a response to. Now it's entitled "Why White Women Are Jealous of Black Women," and appears to be a white woman. So I'm not sure where from. Yeah, oh yeah, you was getting a lot of static coming in. Are you using like a plug-in mic or something?
Yeah, I'm just. Oh no, is that better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool.
Whatever mic it is, it picks up a lot of movement.
All right.
Yeah, peace, fam. So we're back with it again. This time we're gonna check out another clip that was sent to us. This one's on YouTube and it's entitled "Why White Women Are Jealous of Black Women." We like to disseminate these topics, break them down, discuss them. So let's see what's being said on this.
Hello and welcome to another video.
Wow, thank you.
I normally don't make English content on my YouTube, but
you recognize that accent?
This video was actually inspired by
somewhere in East Europe, I think.
Mine. Her name is Waffles Only Sis. And she actually asked me to make this video because a video of mine, a TikTok video of mine, went viral, and the video was literally all about me stating why many white women, or most white women, are in fact jealous of black women. So as you can maybe,
I like how she said many and most. She didn't say all.
A lot of
Exactly.
white people try to make me understand, try to make me believe that what I'm saying comes from a point of, like, I'm literally judging myself. I'm saying I am jealous of black women. That's why all white people are jealous of black women, which is definitely not the point. Even if I was, everybody is at one point in their life always jealous of something or of somebody. But that's not the issue. The issue is that...
Okay, I'm gonna pause it quickly just before we get back into it. I just want to say, I don't know who she is, but she sounds quite intelligent, and you know what, big ups to her for appearing on the camera and speaking, because we recently checked out another clip which was about Latina women, and it was just a slideshow, and it put a lot of assertions and stuff out there, but whoever put it together, they wasn't on there speaking. You couldn't really feel anything, but this lady, she hasn't said much so far, but from what she has said, it sounds like she's coming from a real place.
Exactly.
It doesn't sound like she's she BSing or something. So I just want to say that. So yeah, let's pick this back up.
What I said comes from historical facts. It's not as if I pulled this out of my thumb and I felt like, let me just put this on TikTok. Actually, the video was like a stage. I saw a black woman, and she literally said, "Why do y'all hate black women so much?" And before I even go into it, I want to keep this as short as possible this time. Before I even go into it, I want to say that you are only jealous of someone you can never be like. Like, if someone is out of your reach, that can be financially,
so true,
socially, economically, visually, ethnically.
Bring it out.
You can have so many reasons. If somebody is out of your reach for you, you always react with jealousy. Sometimes consciously and sometimes subconsciously.
Okay, well, just want to pause that again quick. Once again, big ups to whoever she is. I haven't really heard, all the way she's going with this, but, she bringing it out. One of the things we discuss on here on doatbm is issues that affect the humans, not just, everybody. This human condition is something that afflicts us all. And, we've discussed jealousy in the past. We've discussed social and economic things, but even just how jealousy is one of the biggest things that we see as a problem in the community and just amongst people. And sometimes I think people don't understand how it can be rooted as a pathology and the psychological aspect to it. So what she sort of did there, just drawing the correlations, and she said it earlier when she said, everybody can be jealous or has experienced jealousy, but it's until you can grasp that form of understanding sometimes within it yourself that you can then sometimes free yourself from it, So I think she made a great point just bringing it up and saying it can be conscious and sometimes it can be subconscious. I was slightly off topic. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was Greek, and he was explaining that when he moved to the UK, he experienced a lot of racism from the English, like the white English people, and he, and he's Greek, so. But he was saying everybody used to call him a Paki, assuming that he was, Pakistani or something, and or not even just assuming he's Pakistani, because as we know, they use it as a racial slur for most Asians. It doesn't matter, even they'll say to an Indian, you know what I mean? So anyway, he was saying in that experience, what he felt or what he thought was that the English people and the white people were some of the most jealous people he had come across, just in his life. He's been around all sorts of nationalities and stuff just from living, and but he was saying just from how it was, he was like, they was just jealous of me for like no reason, or because I'm just that little difference that he had and stuff like that. So I think that's an interesting point. So I want to see where she goes with this, because using the same analogy that guy spoke about, where he said the English guys were jealous, I'm not sure she's going to say something similar in terms of the women, because people carry certain psychologies and pathologies with them sometimes. So you got any points?
Yeah, I kind of agree with what she's saying. I mean, jealousy is a normal human emotion that we can all experience, and it can be conscious and it can be subconscious. And as she rightly pointed out, to be really jealous of someone, it have to be something that you can never be, if that makes sense. Otherwise, you can't. If it's something that you can be, then you wouldn't be jealous, because you can do that as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you can do something that someone else is doing, then you have no reason to be jealous of them, because you can go and do it as well.
Yeah.
But generally, if you can't do something, if you can't do or be something that someone else is, then that's when the jealousy comes out. So I definitely agree with that. But yeah, it's a normal human emotion. We've all experienced it. We've all had people. We've all been jealous of someone at some point. All people will be jealous of us. That's just the way it is. It's just a normal human emotion that God's given us.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll get back into the clip. And as you said, you made a great point, in which she sort of made as well, where they said, jealousy, it can be based on somebody having something you don't. So, and that could be a better job, a better financial standard, a better home life, and any little things and stuff. And sometimes in this world that we live in, especially in today's age with social media and with everything being constantly being shown and promoted in your face, and people don't understand the concept of advertising and stuff like that is to make you want something or see something that you don't have. So it's about selling you what you don't have, and telling you that, convincing you that you need it. So every time something's being shown to you, it's not only being shown to you to promote to you, it's also being flaunted to you in a sense, and emphasizing that it's something that you don't have. So in today's time, I think jealousy and stuff like that is definitely at a high. I'm going to do the math on the date when this clip was posted up, but I think it's fairly recent, but let's get back to it.
But it's always a point of, I wish I was that person. I wish I had that person's money, car, house, face, body, eyes, ears, character, whatever. Jealousy always comes from a point of not being able to be like the person the person in question. Okay, so I actually wrote some things down, because of course, before I made that video, of course I did my research. And the thing is, starting, for example, with fashion, that was very modern in the 1700s. Women used to dress in a way that they used to carry like a pillow.
I know, it's just talking like those
it was like a foam something in their behind to make their butt appear a lot bigger. Now, if we're looking at
it's like when they used to wear those dresses and stuff,
and the physics of a black woman, of course, always under the prescription, under the thought that not every woman is the same. Even different ethnicities have so many shades, so many skin tones. White isn't white, black isn't black.
Of course.
Other than that.
Okay, I just want to pause it real quick, because she just made a great point again. White isn't white and black isn't black. It's funny because I was traveling earlier, and we were experiencing a lot of snow right now, and I was looking at the snow on the ground, and I was observing how good the snow looks, and it's just white and clean and all that stuff. and then I was, understanding how dangerous the snow was at the same time, especially if you come across the black ice. But then I was thinking to myself, well, that white is white and that black is black, and as we use the terms white and black to describe so-called people on the planet, so-called black, that's why sometimes we say so-called black people and so-called white people, because these are terrestrial terms that we've been bound with. However, no so-called white person is that color white. I haven't seen nobody as white as the snow. I've seen some white people be pale, and some of them would even refer to others and say, oh, you're looking lily white and stuff, or when they've got different aspects and shades and stuff. And then just like certain so-called black people, I mean, I've seen dark people, but I ain't seen nobody myself personally as black as the color black that we know black, so where she just said black isn't black and white isn't white, and she was just explaining and emphasizing there are different shades and characteristics and stuff within people. So I think that was a good point.
Nobody's really white. I'm speaking from a point that this is common sense. If it isn't to you, please check yourself first before coming for me. That being said,
bring it out.
Of course, every woman's physics or every woman's body shape is different, but there are certain features that are attached to certain ethnicities. And of course, black women are known for having beautiful full lips, very sharp facial features. They're known for their jawline, for their nose bones, for the hips of their nose. Is it called hips of the nose? I guess you know what I mean. The sharp eyebrows. They are known for their hips and the hourglass figure that's absolutely trendy now, that is everywhere. Some years back, you will still be bullied if
look
you
at Kim Kardashian.
Now, everybody wants a big butt, and the media have the capacity to blame this on people like the Kardashians that are literally the human definition of copying black women.
I just mentioned them.
It starts not only with the body shape, it's the lip fillers, is the eyebrow lifts. Many of us are getting the face contouring when we are getting injections to make the facial bones sharper, that are just not common in our ethnicity. These are things that, of course, there are always exceptions, just like there are black women with small lips, black women with flat butts. Like I said in the beginning, everybody is different. But that notwithstanding, like I said, there are certain looks that are designed or that are known to be often seen in black women.
Yeah, so she talking about generation and which getting into the science of things. Obviously we all carry different genetic codes and stuff in our genome, and heredity, and even just how the human genes and stuff redevelops and develops on, you are going to have certain inherent traits, down to your race, which is definitely statual and factual, and there are exceptions to the rule. There's nothing that's because everything's like a code. Even you think about DNA, there's a code that makes you have the skin tone that you have. That's why they say some people who have different sort of skin tones sometimes, because they have mutated genes and cells and stuff in different ways and stuff. When you get down to the science and stuff like that, we've actually got a video that's going to be coming up soon where we're going to really get down into more of the genome stuff and break down some of the genetic mutations and stuff and things like that, because I think that's an important bit of science that sometimes is missed out. Because just like if you've got certain genes and you can pass down certain illnesses through families and stuff like that, it's the same sort of thing, so features and stuff are passed down, characteristics and stuff are passed down and stuff too. The point about the Kardashians and stuff and just the media, there's definitely been that, I don't want to say love-hate thing with the whole big butt thing, but with some people it's been, adorned and celebrated, and, others they've been marginalized or, mocked. People see the image of Sarah Bachman, who was known to have, the big buttocks, and, she was a figure that they mocked. And, some Mix-a-Lot, he changed the game, with Baby Got Back. Because he opened up a lot of people's eyes again when it was like, he was like, Cosmo says no, Baby Got, and he kind of made that cool again in a lot of ways as well. So, and then, we had Beyonce, Bootylicious, you know, Shakira, Kylie. I don't go slightly off topic, but I think
Mm.
even with certain people, I remember in the UK that at one point they started making a big deal about Kylie Minogue, and they was like, oh, you know, and I was like, well, she ain't really packing nothing like major or nothing that we don't
Mm.
we you know, figures and stuff like she rightly said is something we know about. You know, not to give too much of the game, but to give a bit of inside baseball. You know, when we was younger and we was young bucks, that's how it was. You know, we out on the streets. Some people still say today, you know, are you a TNA guy, a T guy, or an A? You know, what do you probably look at a girl and stuff? And some guys, you know, they always, even when we was young, it was the same thing. We knew the black girls had that kind of shape, and if we looked at a girl from another ethnic group, 9 times out of 10, the first thing you kind of did was look at their body and see if you know, what sort of body they had, and if they it might sound crass, but if they had a body that was like what we would similar to like a black girl's body or whatever, we'll be like, oh yeah, that could be, oh yeah, she got bodies, even if her face was like, yeah, but she got, you know, so she makes some interesting points, and sometimes just in the bodies that we see and that we view from people, it carries you know, even the bodies carry a certain root, because even if we're talking about different humans in the human family, this go back, you know, to they say, you know, the black woman's the only woman with the Eve gene. That's you know, the original woman on the planet.
Mm.
You know, you know, what's the old woman that they found, and or the oldest skeleton remains
Lucy.
that Lucy.
Lucy.
Bring it out,
Yeah,
you
Lucy.
know, bring it out, you know. So you know, there's a lot to be said. What I find very interesting, and peace to this lady, whoever she is, because you know, the thing about us, we discuss things from a black perspective, but you know, we're the most humane people, definitely, and even us as individuals, we're humane. We see humanity, and we get on with people from everywhere. You know, ourselves a couple of months ago, we sat down with, you know, Muslim brothers, and you know, spoke and had them on the podcast and stuff, and broke down some things. You know, so with it can be said that we don't judge people in that way. I know sometimes people might hear the topics that we touch on, but we touch on everything. We're about bringing truth and, you know, freedom, justice, equality, just kicking the realness. So I want to say peace to this woman, because she definitely been kicking some real on this, what I've heard so far, just to what she knows, and she's being honest. She said herself that stuff that I reckon she might have had surgery and stuff that I don't know, because she was saying we have to do this. So I don't know if she was just using it in generalization or including herself in what she's had to do and stuff too. You know, I probably went slightly off topic, but let's get back to the show. You know.
Black people in general. So now, thanks to social media, we have a whole new word for that, which is called black fishing. That's like, I'm not even going to explain this because I'm not black, obviously, and I'm not in the position of explaining what black people are going through. I'm just speaking from my perspective as a white woman. Black fishing is exactly what we've been doing since we came to recognize the fact that black women have what we can never achieve naturally, because surgery has just been around for a few years now. So, and it's been hyped and it's having a boom in the last maybe like 5 years thereabout. I can't really say because my ass is not, I don't have that kind of beautiful hourglass figure. I'm not even going to lie. If I had the coins, I will go for that because it's absolutely beautiful. Of course, that's jealousy. By the way, we need to redefine what jealousy really is. When I see a woman, I see her and I'm like, I wish I had the money to have this body. Better yet, I wish I was blessed with this body naturally. That's already jealousy. We are seeing jealousy as something that's so negative because most of the time, jealousy is followed by hate. But I can be jealous of somebody and still admire that person and adore that person for that. Still wish I had it. I don't have it. I can still love myself. Then I'm still beautiful. I love the way I look. I love who I've become. I'm still a work in progress. That doesn't stop me from loving who I am now. That doesn't mean that I cannot look at another woman and be like, "Damn girl, you're fine. I wish I had your body."
Okay, so yeah, you know, they're getting a bit catty with it, but you know, females do that. They definitely check out. I don't think that's just a thing white women do. I know black women, a lot of women do the same thing. They, you know, look at other women and sort of look at what they have. Sometimes that could be material, it could be, an item, it could be clothing, it could be a car, it could be a house, it could be, a part of their body or what they look like, or, their style. So what she sort of got back into was the concepts of jealousy not necessarily always being rooted in hate, just in out of somebody having something that you lack. And she hasn't mentioned like melanin or anything or skin tone, but she did mention blackfishing. And to me, blackfishing, my understanding is this thing on social media and just where it's been exasperated of certain types of races overemphasizing their pictures or themselves in makeup and other things in a way to don the so-called image of a black woman. Now, the issue what I think a lot of black women take with it is they feel as though they've been marginalized and suppressed and repressed for so long for holding an image that's natural to them. Like, for instance, a young black girl getting braids. And the thing is, somebody could look at braids as a thing of beauty, but if you've been around a lot of black families and you've seen some of the young kids when they're getting their hair done, they're crying, they this, they that,
Exactly.
So they got to go through all of that. And then on top of it, they probably go to school and then they're catching hell at school because they look different or they're being treated different because somebody sees something in them that they don't have or can't do. I can't do my hair like that, but they're marginalizing them because of it. But then some of those, not necessarily the same people, but people from some of those same groups then are adopting that look themselves, but they're getting praised for it, or they're getting, not treated any different about it. They're like, some may get treated different. Some may look and say, oh, well, you trying to look like one of those black people for or whatever. But, and it's not for me to categorize any particular look as such to being black. So I just want to say that because she spoke on the blackfishing, but it seems more her when she's speaking a lot from I think her body look part. We got more of it to get to, so I don't know if she gets into skin tone and stuff. But as I said, I didn't hear her mention the melanin, but I mentioned that because it could be said that other non-black people in different shades and forms have different concentrations and levels of melanin, or some are seen as more melanin deficient in a sense. So when you're deficient of something, it's something that you are lacking. So maybe that's where some of the jealousy she was kind of speaking about could come from as well, because if somebody's got something that you're devoid of, that could also cause issues. You still there, Dean?
Yeah. I was related. No, I was going to mention this earlier actually, but I was going to say it just shows how powerful the media is, because it's like what is considered attractive now, like big backsides and big lips and those kind of things, voluptuous figures, that kind of thing. That was 20 or maybe 30 years ago. That was ridiculed. You get, do you know what I mean? Girls at school, if they had that kind of figure, would get teased for it. But now it's in, and that's all because of the media. People in the media have, whether it be rappers or kind of Cardi B or any kind of female figures, it's they have shown that to be an attractive. So because they've stated how attractive that figure is, and now that's in, it's now considered to be in. It's almost like we're just like people in society, just sheep following whatever the media tells them.
Yeah, no,
if the media said tomorrow, if it was pushed in the media tomorrow that having no eyebrows was attractive, guess what? People would be shaving off their eyebrows, and having no eyebrows would be attractive. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. And I think that's definitely
people are so easily led.
Yeah, so we're in a society like that, and I think that's definitely the case for some people, and for a huge portion, maybe a lot. However, would you toy with the idea that perhaps definitely people are easily led and that stuff too, but in the concept of some of what we identify as being attractive or cool, would you say that started out naturally? Because it's like you mentioned a Cardi B and some of these people that they came from the hood, and at the same time it's like my guy Fino Gambino, props to him, he said this the other day. He said all the rich people got rich off the poor people. they used us, used our ideas, used our this, used our that. So it's the same concept in the sense of the visual image that I think in some aspects that they tried to repress as naturally still managed to blossom and bloom enough that it captivated different people in different ways. Now, if it's just like, a certain type of look that people want or would want to be like, some that comes from the ground level. It's like a Cardi B, she came from the ground level, you know what I mean? So I do agree that the media does exasperate a lot of these things, but I feel as though some of it starts out from a natural point, and I think, not to speak for this lady, I think that's where she's trying to kind of go, or maybe that's where she's coming from, saying there's a natural sort of look that some women have that is naturally attractive, or when we look at things from a anthropological standpoint, we know that people have different phenotypes, genotypes, and even anthropomorphic types of the body, so and some of these things are what we denote attraction to. Now, she didn't really suggest much towards she did speak on some facial features in some aspects. Now, you've got other people that may say they find Asian women or more Indian and certain types of women more attractive because there's a certain type of symmetry in their faces and stuff as well that is just kind of indicative to them, which is why they have some may say they all look pretty, or they have a certain so sometimes it's different people have different forms to their body. So I believe a lot of that's natural, and the media doesn't necessarily create that, they just exploit it, because it's just like a good artist. The artist creates the music, and then once they get to the machine usually exploits it and runs with the narrative for whatever it can gain from it. So let's get back to the last portion of this clip.
That's because I'm apparently okay with myself. So if you're at a point where you're not okay with yourself and you have every reason in your own thinking, you have a reason to be hating on other people because you're so desperately not comfortable in your skin, it's your problem, not theirs. Check yourself. So then another thing is that not only the copying, it is the social safety and social standard we enjoy for appropriating Black cultures. That starts with the hair. I have years back, before I came to realize that it's wrong, I used to wear braids, even here in Germany. I still do wear braids whenever we travel.
Okay, so that answers your question, Germany.
It is part of their culture, my husband's culture, to have your hair braided during Christmas, and I'm the only white woman in the family. I can never ever be this disrespectful and be like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's part of the family, so I'm doing it when I'm in that environment, not when I'm here. However, years back, I used to do it. I always got compliments for my hair, from Black people, from white people. I have so many Black women as friends, and I know what they go through. I think it's
interesting she talking about the hair stuff, because we were just talking about that point. But it sounds like she's done it, for different reasons, which shows a good example.
To an extent that they can be tolerated. Notice tolerance is an acceptance, and both of them don't mean that they are valued and that they are appreciated. Those are different adjectives altogether. So Black women wear their braids is a problem. They wear their afro is a problem.
Yeah.
They don't get jobs.
I just spoke on that. Bring it out.
They don't even get simple human rights because of their identity. But if we go and wear braids or wear native African clothes, if we go and have an aggressive tone, we are never going to be questioned. That's white privilege. And that's why we can freely copy Black women for everything they naturally are, and we benefit and even get praised on top of what another person's discrimination is.
Well, she's talking white privilege.
So how can we comfortably sit and be like,
same in the music business,
It's only hair. No, it's not. It's another.
Nothing against white rappers, but there's loads now, you know what I mean? They was able to take the blueprint.
And you, Becky, you go out, wear the praise, get praises, and absolutely do nothing against discrimination.
But peace to the ones who stand up.
That's when you are getting those compliments, that to, this is actually a black lifestyle. This is actually, we are not even ready to question our own white privileges. That's why we are labeling it only hair, so that we can comfortably culturally appropriate another person's identity. We are using these statements to make ourselves comfortable while we know that we're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, nah, I like how she's speaking. Even though she's saying we're like, I think she's speaking in generalization because from how she speaks, I wouldn't charge her with being guilty of any of the stuff that she's speaking about herself because she speaks quite conscious and well informed about it enough. And I think she said she was married to a Nigerian and stuff. So, but I digress. Like I said, she does. Even though she's saying we, I wouldn't charge her with being guilty of that because from how she's speaking, you can hear the innocence in her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And her speaking on white privilege and stuff. This now, even though this topics was about the women and visual stuff, it transcends that because that's something that we deal with in society, and some people refuse to even accept it. What I find interesting is, and peace to them, because there seems to be a lot more white women that are open to calling out white privilege and hypocrisy and stuff like that than a lot of the men. And I don't know if it's because the women, have had their own kind of internal subjugation and stuff as well, and have find their voice as well to just speak out on injustices and stuff. But I find that quite interesting. But as she said, that privilege which is afforded to some to kind of take from another's culture. Now that's something we've explored deeply on this podcast and in past episodes is, the concepts of like culture vultures, identity theft and stuff like that. We hear a lot of this stuff still in modern conversation to this day. People saying we're the real people of this, and these people that stole our this and that and the third. Now, do you have any, before we get to the last point of this clip, do you have any thoughts on what she just mentioned on white privilege in society?
Yeah, I think credit to her for this. She can see things from both perspectives.
Yeah, she did.
And I guess that's down to the fact of her husband and his origin. A lot of people can't. They're blinded.
Well, I wouldn't say it's just down to her husband. I'd probably say it's that may be in parts, but down to her because, like we said earlier, and even with one of the other clips that we checked out before, there's some people that fetishize people, but she doesn't seem like she coming from a fetishy place with being a guy. Because some people then they could be with a guy, but they still don't respect and appreciate certain things culturally enough because they're not based in that level of thinking themselves. So she seems like she got that level of thinking herself, and it's probably enhanced, as you put it, with her husband and stuff too. But yeah, I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. But yeah, she seems quite smart because she can see things from both perspectives because of her experiences. But maybe she's just researched it. A lot of people are blinded, either consciously or unconsciously, from other people's experiences, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
And they fail to look at things from other people's point of view, and that's why they have the kind of closed-minded views they have. Whereas I have to say that she doesn't have that. So yeah, it's one thing I did notice when I watched the clip before. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just checking it out now. I know we got it sent to us, and you definitely screen a lot of the stuff before it goes on the show. So let's get back into the last part of this, and then we'll wrap things up.
We know deep down, we know. We just don't want to say that because we want to reap the benefits. That's a very, very current example is actually the snot-milk baby carrier. If you're done with this video and have gotten to this point, why don't you Google what Google tells you about the snot-milk baby carrier? That was last, apparently, Google says that a white woman discovered the snot-milk baby carrier. Meanwhile, women in today's Tanzania, Namibia, Angola, Congo, literally the whole southern part of Africa, downwards of Cameroon downwards, have been carrying their children like this ever since they came to existence.
Bring it out.
And white supremacy and white privilege made it possible for a white woman to reap benefits of something, not only benefits in the form of praises, we are talking about money, We are talking about recognition. We are talking about getting compliments and getting praises for something she had absolutely no hand in. She literally saw it when the native Africans did it and still do it up to today. She saw it, appropriated it, made it her own, made it known in the white man's world, in the Western world, and got credit for it. And she's at fault because she failed to recognize the black woman as its origin. She failed to recognize the black woman as the origin of humanity, point one, and the origin of the idea she stole from that woman. Man, all of us went to school. If you go to school and do this kind of crap, you will fail every single available class. But if you're white and you're grown and you steal from black people, you get media recognition, you get
Bring it out.
you get praise. That's white privilege. And that's only possible in the form of white supremacy because we keep it alive. Whenever we
Yeah, it was like, you know, when they started oh, she about to go in, I'm gonna get back to that. Yeah, when they started censoring me online and stuff, I was talking to a few people and they were like, oh, you know, I know people that do this and do that. How come they coming down so hard on you? I'm like, oh, you gotta ask yourself that.
Appropriate identity, culture, heritage, her entire being, her entire identity, without giving her credit, without making sure that she can carry the same thing you are carrying out her house without ever being discriminated on, we are guilty.
So this isn't just go for black women, this goes for black people in general.
If you only if you only read about it, if you only listen to what black people tell you. Because I'm here telling you this, but a million black people have told you this before, you just don't listen. That's the point, you just don't listen. So whenever we appropriate, we technically know that's not our own because we are not that dumb. I mean, I want to believe that we are not that dumb to really think that we invented box trade and that we invented big butts and tiny hips and full lips in the name of littleness. I really want to believe that we are not that dumb to believe that we invented something.
In about 20 years' time, they're gonna say Eminem invented hip hop, man.
Exactly.
So if you look at humanity and the achievements and where humanity was like 10,000 years ago, you know that black people were already truly live. They already built empire
Facts.
when you didn't even exist.
Bring it out. Bring it out. Bring it out.
We have a huge problem with giving black people the credit they deserve because we so desperately want to be what we can never be. A copy will forever be a copy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, telling you this from a point of system.
She get into the science. Wow.
We whitewash history, we whitewash humanity, we whitewash achievements globally, and then be like, I know that does not work. It can never work. And I keep saying it, the karma that we are going to
And this is someone coming from Germany.
Are fed up, which, by the way, I don't know why they are not already. So I'm fighting back and taking back the history we stole from them by force. Only God knows why.
Only God knows we don't gotta fight by force.
But every system is designed to fall. So
I think we're seeing that now.
Silence is a system. That's all I got to say. Protect black people around you. Use your privilege for good. If you don't, you're guilty.
Oh well, so she bringing it out, man. Ooh, so well, yeah, just to surmise and you know wrap up on that end note, she, you know, I didn't expect her to drop that science at the end, but a well presented video. You know, you can find that on YouTube. The title, I'll put a link to it in the description. The title is "Why White Women Are Jealous of Black Women." Yeah, so I'm just digesting what she was just saying because she was just dropping a lot of science at the end.
I was impressed. To be honest with you, I was impressed with.
But remember when you didn't want to do it, man, but she did it. I remember when this was said to us, you was a bit apprehensive because I remember you know, this was emailed in and you said you wasn't sure if it was gonna fit in with the segments and I said, you know, let's give it a shot and I hadn't seen it, but just us going back over it now, I feel as though, you know, I'm impressed, you know. Yeah, what was you gonna?
Mhm.
Yeah, what was you gonna say though?
Yeah, it's the knowledge of just general African culture and that kind of thing. Like, for example, people that the women carrying the babies, from Cameroon down. I knew that was more of a thing in Southern Africa and Central Africa than it was in West Africa, for example. I knew that.
Yeah,
But when she dropped that, I was like, yeah, that's a lot of people might not know that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
People don't know anything about Africa. They think Africa's all the same, and it's not the same as Cameroon is different to Liberia is England is to Russia. Do you know what I mean? It's different. So
I mean,
yeah,
she went
yeah.
there, she brought it out, man. I mean, she dropped the history and the science of the planet. And when you drop the history and the science of the planet, you talking about, so-called black people being in existence from, creation, how God intended and God created these children. That's why Dr. King's last speech, he said, we don't need no Molotov cocktails. He said, we just got to go to these stores and tell them we got a message from our Father to tell you ain't treating these children right and things better change. Now, I say that because she did mention some points about, black people will they get tired and take things by force, and I feel a lot of people anticipate that. However, I don't advocate that we need to, because, it's men of the scripture. We taught that, the Most High would deal with these things. Vengeance is our Father's. At the same time, it's not for us to seek.
Exactly.
In any aspect, so she did make a point on that, but obviously she's white, so she's probably seen it from that, like, all the stuff that's been done. People are gonna get to a point they're probably not taking it no more. I don't know when that clip was put out, but I feel as though a lot of the stuff she was saying, we're seeing some of that now, the sort of decline and falls of empires and stuff, and economies breaking down, pestilence, plagues and stuff happening, pandemics, places around the world having food shortages and farmers going on strike, and certain things haven't completely even rolled out, more so like they may do. So I feel as though we're seeing some of that stuff now. So it was an interesting clip. Peace to this lady. Let us know y'all thoughts in the comments, and anything y'all want us to check out too, you can send it in by email or send it in by a message, and we'll check that out.